Okay, good morning. We are back on the farm this week, but before we start, I would just like to say, would you please hit subscribe if you haven't done already, ring the bell. The bell will notify you of our next upload, which is, if you haven't gathered by now, every Sunday morning at 8:30. That just helps us with our bits and bobs that we're doing and to grow our channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, please can I ask you to do so. These are the statistics. These are the statistics. So, Christmas is round the corner and we are still struggling with shed space. Now, Mark has told me to book the entire day out to give to him today on the farm. I don't really know what I've let myself in for, other than the fact that we've run some cattle into the auction this morning. A little bit different than last year, because this time last year we were sort of keeping everything back in the hope that the value of the cattle was higher in the Christmas market, albeit we didn't go through the whole beauty regime like most people do, so it was a bit of a learning curve for us. We haven't had the time, and cards on the table, I don't think we've really got that number of cattle that really stand out like some of the competition that we saw of last year. So we have brought it forward and we're selling now. Now, there is a limited amount of cattle about, but the trade that we had last week was absolutely fantastic. It was on fire down at the auction, so that was great. I'm hoping with the less cattle in this week, because people are perhaps holding stuff back for the Christmas market, we might see a bit of a bumper trade today. So that's what we're hoping. We've had 11 in today, but the biggest reason for us is that we need the shed space, because we still have cattle outside at the minute. Now, we've got the last of the cows and the calves to bring in, which I know is what Mark wants to do today. We've got to wean some of them off. Numbers wise, I'm not entirely sure where we're at and what we've got left to come in and what shed space we've got, but really concerned. Obviously, we've had snow yesterday, we've had snow today, so we've got to get the stuff in now. So let's go and find Mark and see what he's got for us. All right. What are we on then? Lots to do.
Lots to do. Wean all the calves off the suckler cows.
From the railway line?
From the railway line.
Yeah.
Bit early, but with the snow and shed space.
Yeah.
They'll come in to the shed, be vaccinated, and all the backs are clipped. Calves.
Yeah.
For pneumonia.
So how many's are there?
17, I think.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's 20 cows to come in.
Where are you putting them?
A few around the corner, a few in that shed, and a few in the other shed.
Okay. So there's 11 gone today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which has freed the shed space up to put the weaned calves and some of the suckler cows.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't sound too bad. You said keep the whole day free.
We've got the market first though, move cattle.
Yeah.
Twice.
Breakfast. Again. And that'll be everything in then, won't it?
Yep.
What's in the shed up the top?
All the early weaned calves off
Right,
the suckler
okay.
cows.
Yeah.
They are like the cream of the bunch, they are.
The best of the best. They're the ones you're going to get back at the top of the market.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Right. Right, so what we're doing here now?
So basically, we've got to sort out close calving cows in the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
In the left-hand side.
So that's what's in there now?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then have a good sort through those, pull the calf out, and top that shed up.
So one calf out of that side.
Yep.
You know this is supposed to be for machines, don't you?
I do. But they are machines, look at them.
Okay, so these machines that we've got in the shed then. So we've got one calf to come out of that side.
Yep.
Sorry, what's coming out of this side?
Nothing, if the bull is coming out.
So Sam's coming out.
Yep.
And Sam's going over there.
Yep, with the others.
Yeah. Anything to
You
go
get
back
some
in?
corn, and then it'll be anything that's very close to calving in that shed to join those, to make that up to.
So them ones that are close to calf in there, are they going in there?
No, because they want a bit more extra corn.
Right, okay. So when are we calving now?
Any time now, in the next couple of weeks.
And how many we got?
15.
Okay. And then we got a gap?
Yeah, from January.
Yeah.
The end, open the Christmas, and then we have a bit of a gap to the end of January.
Right, okay.
And then we start calving then through till May time.
So where's Bert?
Round the corner.
Right, okay. Anything else to go around the corner then?
There's one's off the railway line now. The other ones that have come in.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and what's happening then?
So now muck the whole lot out,
Yeah.
leave those cows in that side,
Yeah.
and as we get cows calving from there or there, they'll move across
It's the same as last year in there.
pretty
then.
much, yeah, and just keep
Yeah.
spinning everything round.
And you sure with chock-a-block? No,
Close.
no room for anything.
Depends on what happens today, doesn't it?
Okay, but we're not selling anything more now this side of Christmas,
No,
are
I
we?
don't think so.
No.
no.
Okay.
Nothing's ready.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna get that. We're gonna get Sam out then.
It's Sam's to come out.
Yeah.
And just make that up to X amount of numbers.
Okay, we're doing that now because we need to get to.
Yeah.
Mark doesn't want to miss his sixth or seventh.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Sixth breakfast in a row at the auction. Or an auction.
But not the same auction, yeah. Doesn't count then.
He's cheated. Okay, so while Mark is sorting out Sam the bull and moving him across, so just touch on the pig sheds, because the beginning of last week we sent the last batch of pigs out, so they've gone, we're completely empty. We've then spent, in fact we've got an additional week this week between batches, so we've basically been pressure washing everything down, everything's nice and clean. Come and have a look. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so what we've done is ultimately we clean everything out. We get rid of all the stuff as you've seen in the past. We've had a bit of extra time this time, so we've pressure washed everything. We leave it actually quite clean, but this is not clean. We've got the team of cleaners, they're coming in tomorrow. They actually should have been here on Friday last week, but he's been poorly, a bit like man flu like I've got, but I'm man enough to carry on working. He's obviously not. So we've cleaned it down. He will now come in. They'll put the cleaning foam on everything. Everything will be then pressure washed out, and then obviously that's when we come back in and disinfect it a few days after. Obviously it has to dry before we can disinfect it. But the worst thing about this time of year for us now, in between batches, is now we haven't got animals in here. We've got no source of heat. And the problem that we have is all the water lines, because everything starts to freeze up. When the animals are in, they generate the heat, which stops these pipes effectively freezing up. In the harsh weather, it can still happen when the pigs are little, but when the pigs are big, it's not so bad. So now we've got a fresh batch of pigs coming in, which are all going to be little, which only have half the shed. So the water line on the far side of the shed, while the pigs haven't got the entire run of the building, that's a nightmare because we've got no source of heat to try and keep that water pipe from freezing up. We've got everything lagged, but ultimately it does get that cold because the sheds are just a fibre cement roof. We've got the curtain systems on the side, which, okay, they will be up all the time, but ultimately it does get cold. And that's why we create this kennel in here with the tram over the top, with the centre panel in, so it gives the piglets, when they're small and they want the heat, it gives them that kennel to live in. The heat then bellows out the front of the kennel, or off the front of the tram, and comes up, and this water line generally is okay, but that side's a nightmare. So as best we can, we drain that line before it freezes, and then obviously we will then reintroduce that line when the shed is opened up so the pigs have got the full run. But generally, this is how clean we have the shed before we have the team come in who do the entire clean down, so the entire pressure wash out. Now we've got our pressure washers, they're not as good as the guys that use theirs, and we've got a foaming lance, so like I say, we do our best before they come. What I would like to know, any pig farmers that are watching, if you have an external firm come in and clean for you, at what state do you leave the building in? Because I always believe that we do more than most and clean the majority of everything out, so we've done a lot more work before the cleaners come in. Now the way I see it, that helps us because I want the unit pristine clean anyway. We want everything free from disease, so we want no organic matter where anything could stay lying around under doors or behind the hinges or behind the feed troughs or anything like that, so it's got to be pristine. But am I spending more money doing more work than I should be doing and expecting more perhaps from the crew that comes in to clean the buildings out? Drop it in the box. Okay, so that's it at the auction. Mark is in the farm office. Let's go through the figures. Mark?
2 minutes, I'm just having a shit. So.
Well, man. So, how we get on?
Very good.
Oh, I can't do this. No. Can't do this. As you can see, the office is not yet finished because Mick's been and done the roof. We haven't got any windows, we haven't got any internal walls. Wayne is slacking. All of this has been done waiting for Wayne now for at least a week?
At least a week.
Maybe a week. Why aren't you here, Wayne? Okay, so figures wise, let's look at the figures. So we sold some last week. I wasn't there, Mark was. And obviously what we sold today. So if we pick today's best was a Limmy that we've sold, and we sold that for £3.40. £3.40 a kilo, and that was 612 kilo. So £2,080 for that singular animal. Let's run through the costs of what that has cost us to produce, you think?
I'd say...
So is that one that we bred?
That's one we bred, so we've bought the cow.
Yeah.
She was in calf, so she had the calf, she was in calf.
Yeah.
So we've run the calf on for 16 months.
Yeah.
Probably averaging 3 kilos of corn a day.
For the whole time, or just?
On average, I think.
Yeah, okay. So, and how much a day in corn is that then?
Pound.
£1 a day?
Pound a day, yeah.
So £1 a day for 16 months?
Yeah.
Go on, Mr. Mathematician. My maths are normally pretty good until I'm around Mark, and then it goes to shit. So let's say 60
500 quid.
times, say 30 times 3. So 1,440 quid in corn. Doesn't sound right, does it?
But it is though. Because we've always had corn.
16 months times 30 days in a month,
Yeah.
times £3 per
So-
day.
No, pound a day.
£1 a day, sorry.
So it's 480 quid.
480 quid in corn.
Yeah.
Okay. Then to keep them on,
We reckon it's about 600 quid a year to run a stopper cow round.
so we're going to add the £600 to keep the cow for the entire year.
Yeah.
Then we've got silage,
Yeah.
straw, housing, lighting,
The
fuel.
depreciation, yeah, everything.
So what do we average that at, do you think? Because how much silage will the cow and calf eat?
She... Somebody's going to ping us this, aren't they?
Okay, we haven't got a clue. But truth be told, we need to look into it more, because if we took an average there, we have probably made 400 quid
Yeah.
on that
They're
animal.
Very good.
On a very good day, we've probably made £400 there for that animal that we've sold today, but that's a calf that we have reared, so effectively we haven't bought that calf in. I actually nearly bought something today just to do an experiment on, because some of the stuff that was going through, there were some nice limmies going through today that were about 16 months old. They were 430 kilo, and they were at £2.90 a kilo. Now we've just sold our best one at £3.40. The other one that we sold today was at £3.20 a kilo, but averagely we're probably getting, what was the limmy last week? £3.15?
£3.15, yeah.
For
Chocolate bread again, home bread.
So yeah, so a good animal, but £3.15 a kilo. And that is a bit of a problem, because although it's good and the trade is good at the minute, it costs us a bloody fortune to produce. Then if we move down the scale a little bit and look at some of the worst that we've sold, we've got a couple of Anguses on here that we've sold today. 268, 273, 270, 273, 271. Now them animals have pretty much cost exactly the same to keep. They've eaten just as much.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've eaten just as much, they've used as much straw, we've fed them as much silage, as much corn, as much care has been given, but obviously that average price per kilo is so much lower. Now, granted, okay, the animal was probably cheaper in the beginning, the mum, effectively, was probably cheaper in the beginning. So although slightly different, because that's not one of our own homebred animals, we bought that one in. Well, we've probably paid about £2.60, £2.70 a kilo when we brought it in. So it's all about that weight gain, and again, it's all on that trajectory as to where you get on and get off. But it does bring us back down to, are we doing the right thing, fattening cattle, or do we look at selling stores? Because the stuff in the stores today was making the same price per kilo-ish, albeit 100, 150 or 200 kilo lighter animal. But then we've got to go to the expense of the cost of not just the time and effort that you have to put into them, but also the feed. You have to ramp the feed up massively, because at the end of the cycle they're probably getting up to more like 10 kilo of corn a day, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then you also run the risk as well, as when you get one animal that pops its clogs, like we have had, that ruins pretty much the entire month.
Takes the profit out of the
Takes the profit out of the next month, doesn't it? So I'll have that. If you carry on doing whatever you're doing, shut the door on the way out, keep the heat in, please.
I will do. Bye.
So one of the reasons I brought this up with the price per kilo and the price per animal and how much we're making, we've covered it before in the past, but it's more relevant at the minute because it all adds weight to the argument of the government's decisions of what they're doing. Unfortunately, we never made it to London because I had the dreaded man lurgy, and at the same time we had a load of snow here and there was loads of problems off the back of the snow with everything freezing up. So we had to stay. By the time we'd done all that, I didn't want to go to London then and feel lousy walking around in the cold all day. But I did keep abreast of it as best I could on social media, following Ollie blogs, and also Clarkson's lot. They were down there, Clarkson did a speech, and that was very important because Clarkson's message hit the nail on the head. The government needs to back down on this one. They need to admit they're wrong, admit they've just rushed it through, like he said, and they just need to back down. Because the inheritance tax thing, albeit a big one, that, because what it basically means is farms are very, very asset-rich, cash-poor. And what happens is when a farmer passes on and passes that asset, as in the farm and the land, down a generation, it creates a massive tax liability, especially now that they've altered the rate, and there's no cash about to generate without selling any of the land off to pay the tax bill. And that is a massive problem, because what is going to happen is UK farmers are going to have to increase their prices to such a rate that we've effectively priced ourselves out of the market, because they won't be able to afford to continue or pass down the farm to the next generation and then make a viable business of it, because it's just too expensive. They're taxed too heavy. We're already constantly requesting a fairer price for goods. We're looking for farm to fork to reduce transport costs, and ultimately supermarkets need to get on board as well and help this out, because if they don't, this price for goods, we're going to price ourselves out of the market. We're going to be buying crap in from all across the world, Europe, that the standards that we keep here that I've touched on in the past are nowhere near as good as what we have here. So everything that we're working for, they're just making it harder. And it's not just farming, it affects every single trade. The farming industry is one of the backbone industries of the UK, and it supports everything, every bit of farm machinery, plant, trailers, markets, supermarkets, grocery stores, corner shops, you name it. Our food and produce is in absolutely everywhere you look. So every single business is going to end up being affected by this. All machinery dealers are going to start struggling because farmers can't afford to put the kit on the farm. Then it's finance firms as well, because they're not providing the finance facilities for the brand new tractor to do the job that needs to be done, because people are having to hold on and work with older kit. Nobody benefits. Labour hasn't thought this out. I don't know what morons voted for Labour in the first place, because in my opinion Labour is probably the worst for any form of business or employer or anybody that's willing to roll their sleeves up and work hard in the country. For an employer, which I am, over 70 odd people, they've put national insurance up by 1.5%. That's a massive detrimental impact to my business. That what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to pass that on? But the majority of my business is based around the farming industry again. We provide 90% of our buildings that we produce are agricultural buildings. So therefore, am I supposed to try and pass that 1.5% on with all the other bits and bobs that the farmers are already facing? I can't see how anybody's going to carry on. They're going to sit there and really question what they're doing. At the minute, I'm questioning whether we're going to sell beef cattle as fat or as stores. But the bottom line is, the next thing is going to be, am I doing the right things? Should I be selling beef cattle or not? Or what do I do with my land? Do I just let it go to be a nature reserve and get £5.70 a square metre off the council. I don't know. So, I don't know. Labour needs to back down or get voted out in some way, shape or form. Let's get rid of them because they're absolutely useless. I don't know who to say replace them with because I think they're all useless. I actually think I could do a better job. But it does need to be run by somebody who has some form of business acumen. Now, the likes of Alan Sugar, as an example, he is a businessman, a very, very successful businessman who started from the ground and understands every aspect through. He's not been born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and ultimately he understands what hard work is and how to make something work. It's someone like that that we need sat at the top of the tree making the decisions to make Britain great again. So I'm going to cut off there and stop whinging. If you like what you've seen, like I said at the beginning, please hit subscribe, ring the bell. That will notify you at 8:30 every Sunday morning of our release, and we will leave you with an on the farm montage of making a little bit of money but not enough money.
You miss me, you know I don't pick up the call.